I'm here with the CEO of SMS GupShup. I say GupShup, and that's clearly not right.
No,
this is originally the company Beerud, and you're Beerud Sheth.
that's right.
Yeah. And I'm also here with Robert Scoble because he's pretty much always around.
I tag along.
So Beerud, you are sort of the toast of this conference. We're here at the Charles River Ventures CEO Summit. They invested in you last year, and you guys have very quietly amassed a pretty darn big service in India that's being called here the Twitter of sort of India. Although in fact you guys launched, what, before them, about the same time as them?
No, a little later. We launched 2 years ago. I think Twitter's been a...
Yeah. Twitter launched, was it?
3 years ago.
Was it 3 years ago almost
Yeah.
now? Wow, okay.
More than 1,000 days ago.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the service, how it's similar and different from Twitter, and it's sort of how users use it, and the Indian market.
Sure. So I think just a couple of differences between the Indian or emerging markets versus US. Mobile is the primary medium in India. There's about 400 million mobile subscribers compared to maybe 40 million web users. Everything is used in mobile. Again, most of it is used by SMS or voice. WAP connectivity is not that much as well, so data is very limited, and therefore as we developed GupShup, it's entirely based on SMS. It's a group messaging. It's a group.
One cut. We don't edit.
Okay.
That takes too much time.
Just
speak up.
It's a group messaging service where any user can create a group, publish messages, and those will be sent by SMSs to all their subscribers. So in a way, it's similar to Twitter, as in you create your channel, you have your followers, anybody can join and follow, but the bulk of our consumption ends up being on SMS, which leads to other interesting use cases. SMS is always on your mobile phone.
So how many users do you have?
So it's grown to about 20 million users over the last 2 years, and continues to grow rapidly.
And it was 7 million sometime last year, right? So
That's right. Over the last 6
doubling.
months.
It's doubling every few months now.
That's right.
Yeah. And you actually said that you're throttling growth to sort of keep costs at a manageable rate.
So yeah, the one thing we have to deal with so we send about 400 million messages a month.
Yeah.
That's roughly about 5% of India's SMS traffic, and for each of those messages that we send, we pay the carriers to carry that message.
Yeah.
Therefore, as the message volume grows, our expenses can also grow, and we just wanted to sort of moderate the growth a little bit as we built up our revenue streams and our sales capabilities.
So your text message payments, they don't cap out at some rate where you don't have to pay anymore?
So clearly there are huge economies of scale, and we are getting to that point, and that's what we're working on.
Yeah. So you didn't answer the question though. Do you have a point where it caps out and that's it, and you no longer have a marginal cost per SMS?
Well, I think these are carrier negotiations that we are in the middle of.
Yeah.
And
how many SMS messages are being sent through GupShup right now?
So about, like I said, about
you said 400 million a month.
400 million a month, about 12 to 30 million a day.
And what are your SMS costs right now per month with those 400 million messages? Just curious, ballpark.
So I think it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. So you've also just started a few months ago putting advertising into messages.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what kind of advertising and how that's going.
Sure. So advertisers can, for all the messages we send, we can attach a footer ad at the bottom of the SMS before we send it out. So advertisers can target by category. They could say financial messages or entertainment or spiritual or college students. They can target by location and such, attach these messages. The other thing that they're also doing is creating their own communities or branded communities on GupShup.
Oh, and getting people to follow
Exactly. So the sports teams in India, IPL teams, cricket teams have been
Is it free for them to create that community? And then they pay to advertise it? Or?
Well, there's a paid offering. That's where they pay us a little bit. And, in a way, it can drive consumer engagement for them. Fan engagement in this case.
But what stops them from just going in and creating a free account? Is it this way they get the advertising as well?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more support we provide. There's a lot more targeting. There's a lot more. We sort of just work with them. There's more features. There's also some interactive applications that we enable them. So just a richer experience as a paid service.
So you've had ads for 3 months now?
Yes.
And what are revenues now?
So I think we've crossed $100,000 in revenue, and it's growing fairly rapidly. So we continue to we expect to drive that and hopefully be able to grow in a balanced way or in a profitable way.
So your last month's revenue was $150,000,
Yes.
and then before that, the month before that was 75,000.
Yes.
So it's doubling every month.
Well, over the last 3 months, yes.
With 3 months behind you, so it'll be at roughly $30 million by the end of the year per month. No, but it's clearly like you've found a way to monetize this to some extent, and it seems to be growing healthily, and you just have to stack this up against your SMS costs in particular, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think at least what we've started doing is paying for our variable expenses, namely the messaging costs. I think the next goal is if we get fully profitable, then that would be an attractive milestone.
So if today you became the CEO of Twitter instead of your current company, what would you do to monetize Twitter?
I think they have a lot of opportunities that they're clearly experimenting with. Certainly, brands want to engage their followers and customers. I think there's some opportunities there. It's a lot of the consumption happens on the web, so many of the web models, of course, clearly search-related models are interesting that they could monetize. And I think a lot of the things are yet to be developed. The ecosystem has to develop. Corporate accounts could certainly be interesting as well. People want to communicate. And those are at least the ones we can foresee, not to mention others that may evolve. So I think broadly speaking, for all social media, the way to monetize, what social media are really good at is engaging people with other people. But the same techniques can be used for brands and corporations to engage with customers, and those are paid services. And Facebook's doing that. I think Twitter will do that. GupShup is doing that as well.
Do you see launching outside of India into the United States or any other countries anytime soon?
Oh, absolutely. I think given our current constraints, we're focusing on
constraints. You've raised $24 million.
Yeah. So our last round was $12 million in September, a few months ago. So I think but messaging expenses can get out of hand, right? If you grow exponentially, because each country has its own different dynamics and so on. So there's a lot of complications that we have to deal with. But if we build a viable model in India, and I think we're a few months away from doing that, then we should be able to take it to many other countries, including the US. And I think our service is really much better suited for SMS consumption, which is, if you think about it globally, there's 3.5 to 5 billion mobile phones. And the only thing all those phones support is voice and SMS. So the opportunity is endless, the market is huge, and it's certainly a global product.
You said you're doing 400 million SMS messages a month. Is that right?
Yes.
That must be a significant percentage of overall texting traffic in India.
Yeah, that's about 5% to 6% of India's SMS traffic. And we're by far the largest publisher of messages.
Does that mean it's like there's 8 billion-ish total SMS messages a month? I'm just sort of trying to figure out what 40 million is 20%
No, so
of.
It's easier to look at it annually, right? So let's say if we do a 5 billion run rate, India does about 100 billion SMS messages a year.
A year, yeah.
Yes, and we account for.
And you're a significant percentage of those.
That's right.
So the carriers must love you for the fees they're getting.
Yeah, but I think yes, they do.
You're kind of done paying them.
I think we want to, look, you have to benefit the ecosystem, otherwise you can't survive. So I think we want to explore some creative models where maybe we can do some revenue share in exchange for scaling down our message expenses, and I think that may help us grow in a more sustainable way.
Are you going to mix voice and SMS features at all? Like, click on a thing and then all of a sudden you're listening to a cricket game or something like that?
Yes, absolutely. I think you can do, right, so you can run both brand ads as well as response ads in SMS, right? So a response ad would be either reply by SMS or it would be click to call, right? And it could either be a brand service, right? It's a call center of a company, or it could be an IVR system where you're selling ringtones and voice messages and so on. I think these are all models that are developing. The first thing is to get a really large community, and GupShup has been very good at growing very quickly and getting users to sign up and subscribe to this content. But clearly, as we monetize, voice is a big part of it, and many other value-added services as well that can drive the monetization.
So, where's the company located? Is it in Mumbai or the Bay Area or both?
So it's a bit of a virtual existence. We have presence both in Silicon Valley as well as in Bombay. The bulk of the team is in India, about 50 people in Bombay, and about 3 or 4 people here in the Bay Area. I think it helps to be, I think the the Valley perspective in India and the India perspective in Valley, I think, are both very unique. I find that a lot of Valley entrepreneurs tend to be more focused on the domestic market, while there's a huge, the emerging markets. I think there are enormous opportunities. The bottom of the pyramid, the numbers are just mind-boggling. I mean, the number of users that are just coming online, by which I mean onto the mobile platform, and that can be done. So there's some interesting opportunities there, and we're certainly one of the early ones tapping into that.
And it's interesting you share an investor with Twitter, CRB.
Yes.
Although I think they're a small investor in Twitter, but any friction there? Or?
No, I don't think we've seen any
Does
issues.
CRB pass you like all the confidential financial information from Twitter?
I don't think they have it themselves. I don't know.
What's your best guess on the number of Twitter users today? You think you're bigger than them? They must have grown a lot in the last few months.
So I think, these are different metrics, right? You track unique visitors, so I don't know how many accounts they have, but I mean, Comscore reports talk about 19 million users and so on.
19 million?
Yeah. I think, so give or take.
So
I think
who knows?
it's all growing.
Yeah, but the point is that you guys are doing very well in India,
Yes.
and you're not really very afraid of Twitter in India, I assume.
No, I think there are different products, believe it or not. I think Twitter is ideally suited for web consumption. You look at the number of messages that people tweet, right? You may be sending 20 to 50 tweets a day. A lot of them have tiny URLs. A lot of them are threaded conversations. Well, these ways of consumption don't work on SMS, right? You can't send me 50 SMSs in my inbox. Okay, you can't put tiny URLs that I can't click on. So what happens is, even if the product looks similar, it's used in very different ways. The netiquette of the two ecosystems are very different, and we believe that our product is much better suited for the SMS.
For your active users, how many messages do they send per day on average?
So I think it tends to be about anywhere between 2 to 6 messages a day.
Yeah, and they're receiving obviously roughly.
So on the receiving side, it depends on how many groups you subscribe to. But let's say if you have 5 or 10 groups, it may be in the between 5 and 20 messages a day. So it doesn't, because it's your inbox. It's more personal, right? So the way you treat your email inbox is also the way you think about your SMS inbox. So I think we are much better suited for the SMS platform and the SMS medium, and that's where we're focused on growing.
Are you getting any help from Nokia? Obviously, they sell a lot of phones that are SMS compatible.
Yeah, so I think
Aren't all phones SMS compatible?
Yeah, but Nokia really is a strong a major player in this world of a phone that does voice and SMS.
Right.
Which is, again, every phone made.
Yeah, but Nokia makes most of those phones.
No, so I mean, SMS is a standard protocol that every phone supports. However, clearly Nokia is the largest manufacturer, and the conversations there are, could they help accelerate our growth, and in the process, could we benefit them? But clearly, working with handset makers, we could offer some other interesting things. So we have conversations with all players in the ecosystem. There's a lot of opportunity.
Do you need to raise any more money, or you think you're done?
I think we are operating like we are done, but clearly, I think it makes sense to grow and grow faster, in which case it may make sense to raise more capital, growth capital. But the current plan for us is to operate like we can get to profitability with our current resources.
All right, Beerud, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Michael.
Robert, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for letting me tag along.